What are you doing to find those different places, both of you, in the age range that you have to play?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go first this time. Well, I have a childlike nature. I mean, Wendy will tell you, I walk around with Superman shirts on, and I basically, at Christmas, my kids give me toys. Don't you watch, do you want a tie, don't you want a watch? I said, no, I want toys, because I work in a job in real life where it's very stressful, and I want to tap into that kid. So tapping into the kid for me is not a big stretch. It's when I transcend into the teenager, then transcend into the adult, that I find in those transitioning moments in that journey that it becomes a little bit more challenging. Because as a child, there's a part where he's running around. We have our arms fully extended, just two boys, and I'm running, I'm jumping. She'll tell you, I'm jumping off the back and jumping, and it's the kid inside of me. I'm a child by nature, but it's making those transitions, coming into adulthood. Now I'm facing this whole black and white thing, and the anger. I mean, where's that child? What happened to that inner child? The inner child is slowly but surely being destroyed. So as I'm approaching these roles, I'm starting to feel even personally that we're so ugly at times as adults. We forget the innocence of just two boys running, not a light-skinned boy and a dark-skinned boy, but two boys running and having a good time. I like Alma and I like the Alton. Those are my two friends who are dark. I don't care about that. Those are my friends. It doesn't make any difference to me. I see them as people, but somehow we get along into this thing, and I got to transition into this place, and I'm taking upon all this ugliness that's coming inside, but I'm trying to fight it because she's my safe haven. Every time there's something like that comes up where there's this racial issue, I notice what Gene does, I got to see Alma. I got to talk to Alma. She's the place I go to basically just to strengthen myself.
I think for me, there are several clues throughout the play that I've kind of picked up on to use to kind of age myself. So I start out as 7, and you can do a lot just with voice. So my young Alma voice is, "Who you coming at me?" Kind of that high pitched, sassy, very sassy. I had a lot of sass myself growing up, so I still have sass.
I would say it's
very. I love sass. So that part was easy, and then the next stage is that 14-year-old where you kind of hate your parents and all of that, and that. I won't say a nastiness, but just that attitude that the teenagers start to have. I just kind of tapped into that, and there's some subtle things that I'll be doing with my clothing to also kind of bring that teenager out. And then 17, it's that I'm almost about to embark on a new adventure, and just that excitement and naivete about what the future holds for me. And just tapping into that, just with my voice and demeanor, and just sunny out like I can't wait. I'm wearing lipsticks, and I'm going to New York, doing all these places, and just that excitement, that you have when you're getting ready to leave the house and go off to college and do all these amazing things. And then the next stage is at college. So I'm in New York, and when you go to a new place and you finally start to feel like you belong there and you're fitting in, and you kind of start to get your little swagger on. That's the 17 New York version of Alma, where she's kind of looking down her nose at South Carolina and all of those things back in the South. And then the 38, 40-something version is certainly much more jaded. She's suffered, and she's gone through a lot, and just losing that enthusiasm, losing that joy is kind of how I see myself going on that process.
I can't wait to watch you guys. I'm very, very excited about this show. So I'm going to go a little bit away from the discussion of this particular show.
Is this the wild card question?
Not yet. We're almost there. You've been warned, I guess. No, I'm curious. What turns you on about theater? What is it that turns you on about theater?
always into make-believe as a kid and just fantasies and just the opportunity to play different people. It's like channeling, in a way where you just, this other character kind of embodies you, it comes into your body and I don't know, it's just exciting for me. I could do this in my living room and get just as much joy out of it as I would here, except I don't have the lights, and, the costumes and everything. So yeah, for me, it's really just being able to live with those characters and to play those different parts. Yeah.
For me, it's every time is a first time. I can't say that, how can I put it? When you get ready to go on stage, it doesn't get old. You always get butterflies or something. I always have to go to the bathroom and do number 2. I'm just saying because that TMI, but that tells me because that's how excited I'm about this whole thing because he got butterflies. That's my thing. Before I go on, I said, let me go to the bathroom. I gotta do my thing. I know. Hey,
Thank you
for watching here. No, really, because that's how excited I am. I mean, I know that basically I got a little bit crazy there with that, but really, it's never old.
Yeah.
There's very few things in. I mean, you can get into relationships and you got to work at them, and the newness wears off. But with theater, no matter how many times you do this, it never gets old. It's always the first time, every time. As I'm getting ready to standing in the wings, and I'm just standing like this, wow, I got this thing in my stomach, and I'm glad. You get used to it. I said, this never leaves. I never go, okay, how many times do I do this? No, it's just like, wow. I don't know how the audience is going to take it. I can't be moved by the audience's response one way or the other. I still got to stay in my zone. I can't, when it's theater, I can't be thinking about who's there's a critic in there. I can't think of that. I have to be here.
God, don't think of that.
I don't care. If the playwright was to show up unexpectedly, I would still have to be in my zone. But it never gets old. I don't know if that makes any sense. That's what it's about theater. It just never gets old.
I think the other part is that, when you're doing multiple live performances, what I find interesting is that the energy is different every time.
Yes, it is.
Every time. Even you're working with the same actors multiple times, each time you come out, the energy is just a little bit different. And so there's that kind of sense where you don't quite know what's going to happen. Even though you know what's going to happen, but you don't really know what's going to happen. And so that part is kind of exciting for me, too. Yeah.
Is there anything about theater that would turns you off at all?
Is this the wild card question?
That's the wild
Yeah.
card.
That's coming next.
Okay, I'll leave this one. Okay, there are times in theater, sometimes they tag and sometimes in church or wherever I do it. But sometimes actors can be somewhat difficult to work with. What I mean by that is
He's not talking about me.
not. There was one actor I'm going to leave. How can I put it? He challenged me to no end. I just lost it one time. I hardly ever lose it on stage. Lose it off stage rather. But there was this.
Don't say too much.
No.
I think I was there.
Yeah. I'll say this. You're the great Curtis Duncan. I'm like, what is he talking about? And from that, it just stemmed on. It kept going, and I said, and I had to work with that. How do you focus doing a play when you know there's some animosity? Sometimes it's not a perfect world. Sometimes there's animosity, or I work with actors who are just so full of themselves. Like, don't touch me, I'm this or that. And you're looking, God, what? And there's one actor, I never forget, these kids, they just want to talk, look at you. He goes, don't touch me, no one touches me. And you gotta go on stage with that and say, I gotta block that out. They call it the flip side of theater, where you have to block that out. Because it's not gonna always be perfect. Working with the perfect actors, the perfect time. Sometimes you're gonna work with difficult directors and difficult actors, and you still have to be focused on your craft.
Yeah, personalities aren't necessarily all coming out of the same
it's
cookie
not.
cutter, right? Yeah.
I think for me, you're going to have difficult personalities no matter where you work or what you're doing. For me, I think theater does take a lot out of me physically, and I'm never ready for it. Each time I say, okay, I'm going to do it, okay, I think I'm ready, and then somewhere along the way, I just start to feel really drained. And I don't know why I get surprised by it every time, but each time I'm like, okay, it's going to be a minute before I do this again because I get exhausted. And I think if I could just find a way to really keep my energy level up and to, you know, just to keep it going in terms of from the beginning of rehearsals to the end of the last performance without really feeling drained. If I could find a way to master that, I'd really be doing something. So.
No, I can actually relate to that one. It takes a lot.
It does take a lot. I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know, if you're doing like 15 or 16 performances and it's a play that's got heavy material, you're really giving a lot of yourself each time.
Yeah. The emotional cost.
Absolutely.
It's there. Well, now it's time.
Oh, here it is!
As you've been waiting.
Oh, I'm scared. But I'm
Here it is, drum roll.
Crazy question.
Crazy question. Yes,
ready for this?
Bring it.
I don't think so, but go ahead and give it to me anyway.
All right, so the sky, no, just kidding.
It's not a math question.
No.
So, okay.
No, you're stuck in an Escher painting. What do you do?
You already lost me.
What is now hold on. You're stuck in an Escher painting. What is an Escher painting?
All right.
I'm that dude. I'm that dude.
Apparently, I've chosen the wrong artist 3 times. That's great. Escher is, and I know you've seen his work. He's the one that did those crazy drawings with staircases going into nowhere and banging into each other and
surreal type art.
Very surreal type art. It's kind of like the Hogwarts house on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Harry Potter. Yeah. But yeah, it's a surreal painting with lots of staircases and they're going everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, so I'm there.
And you're in there. What do you do?
I think that's really like what life is all about. I think those surreal type. There was a calendar that did that type of surreal type art. There was an escalator. And there's waterfalls coming out of the escalator and that sort of thing. I used to love those type of calendars. My wife just did. I often wonder, what would I do if I was in that type of situation? I think you have to, I think for me, and I think everybody has their own different take on those types of surreal type paintings, you have to fall. Failure is a teacher. So if you're going into one room, you're going to have to fail in order to finally figure this out. So failure doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means it's going to teach you certain things. Life is like that. You say, God, why do I keep getting into this same thing? I can't see, every day's like Groundhog Day. How come I can't seem to get out of this place I'm in? It's just because you haven't learned something. I'm getting a little biblical here. It's basically the children of Israel were going around this mountain 40 years. I'm thinking, my God, and the promised land was only 2 weeks away, journey. But they hadn't learned anything. They couldn't get anything out of it. So those types of paintings, that type of art is really teach me about life is like that. It's got so many twists and turns, but you're going to have to fail to finally figure this thing out. So let failure be your teacher.
Nice.
I'm not a fail.
There's the
Not an option. No. Not on purpose anyway. I mean, I'm not fail. But let's see. So there's staircases going all over the place, but they're not going anywhere, but they're going everywhere. Is that what you said? I would find a way to enjoy the journey. You know, I mean, each staircase I would imagine has a different perspective on everything else, and I would just try to make sure I got on each and every one of them at least once, and try to enjoy the journey.
That's nice.
Maybe even get some exercise.
Hope there's a restaurant there somewhere, right? Thank you both very much for taking the time to join me. And I hope you take the time to come down to TAG and see this wonderful show, Yellowman. It's going to start on January 13th. It runs through February 5th. And these 2 wonderful actors are going to give you a night that you will not forget. Tickets can be found on our website and also on our blog, and we will see you at the theater. Thank you. Bye-bye.